Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to After the Game with Todd Leary. I hope you don't have that echo all night. I hear that because we're sitting next to each other. We're trying a new thing here tonight, but Indiana taking on Northwestern. So Brian Evans may be joining us here a little bit late on the night before Christmas Eve. Todd Leary, of course, here. We're coming to you live from Yogi's as Indiana loses to Northwestern tonight, Todd, in a game that I don't think this is one that they expected to lose or they could really afford to lose.
Yeah, well, right on both accounts. I mean, I think that this is a game that prior to watching Northwestern beat Michigan State earlier in the week, I think we all chalked it up as I don't know if guarantee is the right word, but a game that Indiana most likely would win. This Northwestern team is good. Like this is not a fluke. This is not, this is not something crazy. Like Northwestern's they're a good team. They're not your typical Northwestern. So. It's not freak out time quite yet, but it's getting pretty close. Like this is not a game. If you want to be a contender in the Big Ten, if you want to talk about seeding in the NCAA tournament, this is not a game at the end of the year that's going to look very good.
Yeah, because Northwestern is like Indiana. They're trying to climb up, and they're not one of those teams that was expected to climb out of the Big Ten, but yet they're trying to do that. And if they do, that's probably going to knock someone down. And by looking at tonight, that could be Indiana. The first half, they just, again, kind of didn't look like they showed up. Northwestern came out with a ton of energy. They played hard from the get-go, and it was working in that first half.
Yeah, I mean, Jim, think about this, and this is not me trying to be negative. This is not, I'm trying to figure out the bright sides of this team. But our fans in general, like our people who love Indiana basketball, how would you describe this team? Like, what's the identity of this team? What are we? Are we a good defensive team? We're not a great offensive team. I think everyone would agree with that. They're sufficient, but they're not great. So are we a good defensive team? You gave up 37 in the first half to a Butler team that was depleted and not great anyway. You give up 37 in the first half at home to Northwestern tonight in your first Big Ten game that you're supposed to be jacked up for. I don't know. I don't know what our identity is. And to think about the fact that, if we're not, we all would agree, no one's going to describe Indiana. No one. Indiana fans, coaching staff, players, analysts across the country, no one's going to describe Indiana as a great offensive team. So then now, if you look at it from the defensive aspect, I'd say we're a fairly mediocre defensive team also. And we show signs of being really good, but if you're a good defensive team, you're good. Like you are good throughout 40 minutes of a game. And our the first half of the last two ball games defensively, we have not looked very good.
Yeah, a lot of people joining us tonight. We appreciate everybody joining. A lot of comments out there. A lot of comments on the guard play, which has been tough because really weird for this team because you've got two groups. You've got a group that is really veteran and really young. And I don't know where you're going to – Armand Franklin obviously is the guy that has stepped up in the middle. He's going to need help. And he can't be the only guy that's doing that. But he's been a lone bright spot so far.
Yeah, I mean, he's played better. Like, I think everyone would agree that he has improved over last year. I don't think there's any doubt there's been major improvement from him. But if you look at the guard play as a whole, like here's my question. And, I would have to go back and watch the game film and see, why this took place. But I watched the first half, and I watched Trey Galloway get in rhythm and play decent. And I saw Christian Lander come in the game, knock down a shot, kind of get in the rhythm of the game, and then immediately he came out. And I, for the life of me, but he may have done something, atrocious that the coaching staff had to take him out. I didn't see it. But if you went back and looked at it, I'd like to know what it was because I don't think he ever came back in. And right now for me, the other fans are talking about guard play. I'm looking at it from the standpoint of it's time to make some changes if you want my opinion from that perspective. And I'm talking wholesale changes. Like I would start Galloway and I would start Christian Lander and you can't do a whole lot worse than lose to Northwestern.
We just lost Brian. We had him on there, and great. He had the nice.
He probably got tired of listening to me talk.
I got the nice Santa Claus and the lights behind him, and he bolted. Maybe he did. We'll see if he joins back on here. Someone just mentioned. I'm trying to go back through the comments. I think it was James Treewood. Why does he continue to play guards? They can't score. He has 2 freshman guards on the bench that can and don't play. What Christian played in tonight? 3 minutes? He had about 2 or 3 minutes the other night, and not much to begin the night. It's kind of. I don't understand. Again, I'm not the coach.
Yeah, but I'm with you. Like that's, I don't want to just say, hey, there's a mistake. They made a mistake. Like, why did they take him out? There had to be a reason why Christian Lander came back out of the game. He knocked down a nice 3-pointer from the corner when I think only one of 2 3-pointers that were made in the first half. And he seemed to be getting a little bit of rhythm. I saw him go flying down the court one time with the ball after a rebound, and I almost looked at everyone else on the floor, and they were almost like, what are you doing? Like, why are you going so fast? And to me, that was kind of telling in that, I don't know. I don't think the guards are playing well together, and I don't think, I don't think Trace Jackson Davis is touching the ball enough. I know I'm not alarming anyone, saying anything that anyone else isn't thinking right now too, that watches Indiana play regularly.
Brian's trying to join us again, but cracks me up. Look, if you look at his name on his, he put his name down there as. Wasn't that the leading scorer for Northwestern tonight?
I didn't see it. I can't see it.
Oh, Chase Aldridge. That's who he listed his name as. Ed Briggs basketball played Durham. How Durham is not, again, I don't want to crack on anybody either, but it's like, man, they need you guys to step up, especially veterans. And we haven't seen that. We're not getting veteran guard play from veteran guards. And that's going to be a problem for Indiana.
Yeah,
a problem for Indiana.
But you say you can say it right now. And I'm just asking you. I'm not asking from the standpoint of trying to be negative or trying to point out the negatives. But I'll just ask you right now. You were at the game. You watched the rest of it right here with me. What did Rob Finney do tonight? What did Rob Finney bring to the table tonight? What did Al Durham bring to the table tonight? I can't. I know they're pretty good defensively, and they've got energy. Like you say, guys have energy when they're.
You want to tell you what they brought real quick? They brought 6 points on 1 of 9 shooting. They were 0 of 5 from behind the line, and they had 3 total rebounds.
Yeah.
That's what they did. Ryan joins us now. Nice, and always with the Christmas decorations behind you.
Where are we tonight? Where are you?
Basement studio. We were having some technical difficulties upstairs in the Butler cabin.
I'll tell you what, you have got some scenic studios in the house.
Indiana, the whole thing going, man. We always count on him. That's a great spot of the show once again. Brian, of course, did you have a chance to watch the game tonight? First half, not great for Indiana, of course. Not a good look against a team that is picked the place a lot of parts of the conference this year.
I thought we were getting a replay of the Butler game for a minute, and when we took the lead, I think it was 54-50. It was like, okay, we played soft in the first half, and all of a sudden we go on a run. Game over. I mean, it was so. What, we were 54-50, and they go on a 12-point run, and game over.
Yeah, I mean that's a game, Brian. I think you would agree. You look back over the years, and not just in the times when we played. You can look at Joe Hillman before us, and you can look at Alford, and you go back to Quinn Buckner and those guys, and then you can go past us, and you can look at all kinds of guards and big guys for that matter. When you come back and make that run and take that lead, especially in Assembly Hall, you never lose that lead. Like the teams in the past would not lose that game after making a comeback, getting the game back under control, and playing on the home court. That game isn't lost by teams in the past.
I don't want to disagree with you, but there was it's not the same kind of energy in the building either. I mean,
yeah, true.
It's not.
I will say this: Northwestern they brought their own energy tonight, man. They were fired up the whole time. Their team was up off the bench. They were on the cheers. They were on the end of the court all night. And Indiana was down there, and their players were just kind of standing behind the bench.
we had like across from the bench, you had like 17 fans, and they were going crazy. I mean, they were loud. You'd have like good 20 to 25 fans. I could hear them all cheering individually. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, I think Dockich described that as the FRO crowd, friends and relatives only. If you remember that, I remember. I remember us talking about that in a game film session one time, and I think it was either Dockich or Felling. One of those guys described it as the FRO crowd.
I talked about Franklin a little bit. 16 points for Armand on 7 of 17 shooting. There's only 2 of 6 behind the 3-point line. The 2 he hit were timely. It's obviously not enough, though. He didn't get to the free throw line. Indiana, again, not good there tonight. They were 10 of 16, 62%. Well, they brought it up at the end. But, again, this is the team that we knew was going to shoot from the outside, and they did it very successfully. What they ended up shooting on the night? 7 of 19. They already shot 19 3-pointers for a team that shoots a lot. Actually, they won more than Indiana. They hit the same amount. So that's not where the game was won or lost.
Yeah, I mean, this is a game. You can look at all the stats. I've gone through the stat sheet. I was going through it as the game was going on. And I don't think there's anything you're going to look at and say, that's the glaring statistic. They didn't get out-rebounded by a million. Northwestern didn't make 15 threes. There wasn't a glaring statistic. I think I'll sum it up, and I think Brian would agree with this. We kind of texted during the game a little bit, and I think he'd agree with this. Indiana just got outplayed. It wasn't a stat line. It wasn't anything flukish. It was literally they got outplayed. And Northwestern, I think, felt confident from the beginning. I think they felt like they were going to win. I think they felt like they were the better team when they came in here. And they just simply outplayed Indiana.
And I didn't want to start to open this can of worms. I was going to do it tomorrow on the show. But this is year 4. And it looks awfully similar to year 3, which looks awfully similar to year 2, which looks awfully similar to year 1. I'm not seeing a lot of difference in the product on the floor. The hustle is the same thing. Fans are complaining about the lack of effort. They're making the same mistakes. This is the same thing over. It's Groundhog Day.
A lot of just a lot of
crickets,
silly turnovers. And I would even throw Trace Jackson Davis. Just that first possession of the second half, it's like he knew exactly what he was going to do and threw it to Thompson. It wasn't there. And there's just a lot of 16, 17 turnovers against the team. I mean, they're not a bad team, Northwestern, but that's not like defensive pressure. That's not. If you think that's defensive pressure, what's going to happen later in the conference that's still Northwestern. I'm sorry, it's still Northwestern.
It's odd. When I was watching the game, I was looking at Northwestern and I'm thinking they're a nice team, and they look like they're a nice team. But that's it. They're a nice team, and there's a lot of good teams in this league that are better than nice.
Yeah, well, they're a nice team, but I'll tell you what they are. In 2020 college basketball, teams are good offensive teams. There are very, very few teams that dominate on the defensive end of the court. Teams are coming out and they're trying to outscore you. And you look at the Iowas, you look at the Gonzagas. Those types of teams can get away with starting out 1 of 5 at the free throw line or starting out 2 for 9 from the 3-point line. Those teams can overcome that because they know eventually the numbers are going to even out and they're going to make those shots. But teams like Indiana can't overcome that. And so you look at Northwestern and you talk about them as a nice team. Offensively, I think the announcers said it 3 different times tonight, and that's with different lineups on the floor. That all 5 guys on the floor for Northwestern were capable of making 3-pointers and knocking down jump shots. And I think there was one point in the game tonight where I think you could say Indiana had 5 guys on the floor that were capable of making shots, but it's not really their MO. It's not really what they're good at. And I said to Brian earlier, guys on Indiana's team are capable scorers. They can score, but they don't have a scoring mentality. They're not scorers. They didn't grow up as scorers. They didn't grow up, as the guy who shoots the ball too much. I know I've seen Rob Finney play since the 2nd grade. He's been a distributing point guard since the 2nd grade. He's not a scoring mentality. Armand Franklin, not a scoring mentality. I think you could go on down the list. And so
Is Trey Galloway and Christian Lander, are those guys?
Those guys are scoring guard. That's why, to me, I mean, I'd shake it up right now. If I was he won't. I don't think he will, and I don't think he's wrong for doing that. It's his team. He's going to handle it the way he wants to. But if I were in his position, I would shake it up. And you want to, we talked about it last year with Justin Smith. Like, what's the best motivator in the world? Is throwing a guy on the bench. And so, I'd throw Rob Finney, I'd throw Al Durham, I'd throw Armand Franklin. I'd put all three of them on the bench, and I would start guys that are going to go out there and play with like their hair's on fire and just see what happens.
Brian, we haven't seen Archie do a lot of that over the 4 years here, though. He's not used that bench as a motivator much.
Yeah, you know what I don't like is I thought Jess Settle did a pretty good job. He made a good comment late in the game. When we came down, I think down 5 or down 4, we started doing the Globetrotter shuffle for a three with no guys that can make threes.
Right.
With guys that have proven the whole night that they can't step back and make a three. Like that Audige guy made just like a nice hard move. It's an NBA move, a step back and make a three. We don't have a guy that can do that.
Nope.
But we're running like a little, top of the court exchange, like that's what's getting ready to come, but it's not coming. And then we turn it over and the game's over. I thought Jess Settles made a good point that that's a great possession to go hard at the basket and try to get fouled or, just get a quick bucket and then pick up again. But we're playing like we have James Harden, and we don't.
Yeah. And like I can't get it out of my head. And I think it was Seth Greenberg, correct me, Jim, if I'm wrong, but he made the comment about Indiana that said they run offense. I just don't think they run offense to score. And I can't get it out of my head because now when I watch them play, when I watch this scripted passes where I see a guy run all the way to the wing, they throw him the ball, and then he gives me the ball right back, and I'm sitting there going, what did that accomplish? Like, I don't understand. I know there's sets, and I know it's different than it was back in the Milan days. I get it, but there's just stuff that goes on out there that I can't explain, and it's not working. So I'd be shaking it up if I were on
there was a few possessions in the first half that I started barking and making noise in my living room going where, just to your point, like there's some ball exchanges and people, this guy has it. They're not putting pressure. That Northwestern out there in the zone with 6'9" guys, they're just kind of hanging out. And we're out around here. Like, what are we doing?
We've got more interchanges and just like I throw the ball to this guy and then I kind of make a half step away and he throws it right back to me and then he makes a cut and I'm like, what did that accomplish? Like I just don't get it. And I watch, I know we used to. Again, I hate to be Bill Walton and go back to the when we played days, but I sit there and watch away from the ball. And when I watch Armand Franklin, which it's not his fault because this is the offense, but when I watch Armand Franklin or I watch Trey Galloway and they're 2 passes away and they're over in the corner, they literally just stand there. And I mean for maybe 15 to 20 seconds at a time. And that to me, I just don't understand. Like I can't make heads or tails of that.
I was thinking, I see Ryan Deckman making a comment. We thought every shot Brian Evans or Leary made was going in, and there's nobody on this team that they feel that way about. I was thinking that when I was watching the game tonight. I was like, man, I remember watching, and there's everybody that touched the ball, you feared the ball going in. Now I looked out there, I'm like, who's going to put that ball in? It's a complete opposite. And, man, you talk about the confidence that has to come. The fans were just confident, so I can only imagine how confident a team is that has that kind of talent. And that's not out there right now.
We had you remember this time? Like, I remember well,
we're having trouble hearing you.
We'd come down the court, and we couldn't believe it. Like, so you had Pat Graham and Damon and Todd and myself. Sometimes we could be in the game together. Maybe Allen Henderson in the game.
We're going to get Brian the mic next time.
They're in the zone. Against us. this is going to be awesome. And we just shoot them out of the zone and just because all four guys can make shots and it's over with real fast. And there was some magic there with Coach Nelson. There's no question. He taught his own offense. It just absolutely worked. Getting the ball into the middle, looking opposite. It wasn't like some crazy science. It was pretty simple, but you could not play zone against a team of guys that can make shots. That's just a fact. I do remember running down the court and just going, no way, that's a 2-3 zone. This is great.
Well, I can specifically remember thinking to myself, okay, well, I've got to get a shot up in one of these couple possessions because I know they're not going to be in a zone for very many in a row. So I want to be the one to get a shot up here pretty quickly. But I appreciate.
And so it's funny though. You guys were basically salivating when you saw the
100%, 100%.
And no, but it's almost somebody put a tweet out tonight when Indiana sees the zone that showed a little baby turn around and running backwards. Man, they look like they hadn't seen the zone since high school or maybe in years. It really took them out. You got to give First College a lot of credit. He just completely befuddled Indiana tonight, but very easily.
Do you have to give him a lot of credit? I mean,
no, you don't.
I think you could run up to the hyper, or you could run up to the Monon and find anybody that can coach that's going to say, well, if I'm going to play Indiana, they're going to have to beat me from the outside because Trace Jackson Davis can beat me. He can beat me on the inside. Race Thompson could beat me if we let him get touched enough on the inside, but they can't beat me from the outside. There's no way.
You know what I hate? So I'm not gonna jump on the bandwagon just yet. What we're seeing, but I really don't like this. What I've been seeing on the bench. Our bench was running one guy and one voice. The first half, I was blown away by how many teams. It's a shit show over there. There's everyone's running around, jumping around. Everyone can scream. All the coaches, the strength guy, everybody can just go crazy. How are players supposed to understand what they're saying? They're all going nuts. It blows me away.
Yeah, I mean I think that's our old school way of looking at it. I'm with you. I don't understand it. I see that going on, and I'm like, I don't want to single anybody out, but if certain people were over there talking to players on the floor, it'd be their last day, and it just was. It's kind of shocking to see that, but I notice it too. I definitely see what you're saying.
I don't think you can understand. I worry about it with youth, in kids sports. My son's third grade team. It's the coach and 3 assistants, and they're all screaming, "Ball you made!"
Right, yeah.
Something else. These kids can't process that. I don't think these guys on our team can process what they're. It's just a bunch of screaming.
Yeah.
Agreed. Yeah, we're sorry about the background noise there, but we got Christmas time, parties going on, and we'll make do with it. So I'm having fun. Sorry, Joey.
Is that our coaching staff over there?
Yeah. This is an example of the coaching staff right here at Yogi's. They're it's just trying to make it helter skelter. But here's I tried to watch some of the players that were not on the court. It's very difficult right now because I'm not in the arena, and I do watch a lot more of that when I get to go to the games. But when you see the guys over there on the bench, I see them. It's almost I know we used to talk about this all the time, Brian, in practices and stuff, but it's almost like fake hustle. It's almost like fake support. I feel like they're cheering because they're supposed to cheer. I think Northwestern was every guy was dead into every possession. They knew what they were running. Every guy on the bench knew what they were running, what they were trying to accomplish, where the ball was supposed to go, where the switches were. Every guy I felt like was engaged. And in Indiana, tonight I noticed it, I think, more than ever. And I tried to watch Christian Lander after he came out of the game because I didn't understand the substitution. And I'm sure the coaching staff could give me a real quick explanation of it. But I tried to watch him afterwards, and nothing to his discredit. I just felt like it was tough for him to stay engaged in the game after that point because I didn't understand why he came out either. I think on almost every other Big Ten team, he's a kid that'd be playing 25 to 30 minutes a game right now.
And I think that if those minutes stay low like that, there's going to be a lot of people that are fearing because the NCAA just passed a new rule that allows you to transfer without having to sit out. And kids are going to take advantage of that. And that's something that you have to be fearful of. I mean, he's a 5-star player. You brought him in. He's going to be a guy playing 2 and 3 minutes a game in which you're not even really competitive.
Behind, and this is not to pick on anyone, but playing 3 minutes a game behind guys that are not accomplishing a whole lot.
And that have actually been here for 3 years and on the same they've been for 3 years.
Right. Yeah, and we're still losing home games to Northwestern. So it's time to shake that up.
Yeah, because how are you going to improve if what you have has not improved and what you have is sitting on the bench? It's a cycle that's not being broken.
Finney, it's like he's a guy that I like. For whatever reason, I just want to like him. He seems like a wholesome, good kid. Like he's just there's nothing to hate about him. But he's just not. I feel like he plays pretty good defense and he stays into people. And he reminds me a little bit of Chris Reynolds. And just he's not gonna do we had teams that we didn't need him to make shots.
Sure.
And this is not a team that can have a guy out there that can't make a shot. And as much as I think I like him, I think I probably like him as a reserve more than I like him as a 35-minute guy.
I totally agree with you.
I don't know Christian Lander. I mean, I haven't got over the fact that guys leave their senior year of high school when you're supposed to be having a ball. I don't even understand. Guys are leaving high school to come to college. Nobody even told me when that started happening. I was like, wait a minute. What?
I promise you didn't come to high school to play 2 minutes a game, though. And that's something else. But, he reclassified. He wanted to play with Trey Jackson. And this team is not – it's advanced. Like you said, something has got to change. But we've said this is a repeat conversation. So, and it doesn't. It has to make you fearful of the rest of the season because you got Illinois up next. You know what they have. You know what they have on the interior, and they've been playing well. They're a team that's much susceptible, though. They're not as strong as we thought that they were. They're beatable.
Hey, I've got a question for you. I'm not sure you both may know it, and I just may be the idiot here. But if you get ejected from a game, are you kicked out of the next game?
I think that's just football.
It is?
I have no idea.
So if you get a double technical, you're not kicked out? Because Desanmu for Illinois got double technical kicked out of the game tonight. And I just wondered if that's a Big Ten rule. For some reason, I felt like that was a rule.
Was it a first half or the second half?
Second half.
Right
at the end of the game. Right at the end of the game.
Might have to sit out a half.
You're making that up. You totally made that up.
It's not just the football. It's an entire game, but if the penalty comes in the second half, you have to sit out first half.
And play. He can play immediately if he transfers to a different school.
Well, that's very, very possible.
So he could play for Indiana on Saturday. He could play for Indiana, but he can't play against them. I get it.
So Indiana, Illinois coming up on Saturday, and Indiana has to travel to go on the road. They did not. You talks about positive touches all the time, and he talks about the energy tonight. I watched the Northwestern bench. They were right in front of me, and they were up all night, up around the edge of the court. They were fired up, and it was real. And like he said, and I didn't think about it being, but it's exactly what it felt like. They were just, it just wasn't there. And if you can't bring that at home, what in the world is it going to be like on the road in the Big Ten? It's not going to be easier.
Yeah, so one of the other things I kept seeing tonight was Todd touched on the Trace Jackson Davis maybe not touching it. I worry it kind of reminds me of Romeo in a different position where when he does touch it, there's just a lot of pressure on it because I don't think Archie has enough going on, like enough movement of some of these wing guys aren't moving. I remember when Romeo would get the ball, I'd be like, this is not fair. He's a freshman and he's got to go 1-on-4 to make the play. I'm starting to see that and Trent has made plays. I mean, he still had a pretty good game. I still feel like he's down on the baseline, just outside of the lane. Underneath the defense, way too much.
Way too much, yeah.
Why is he down there? Like, if he's the only guy that can create, Why isn't he at the foul line or mid post? I mean, they ought to be able to enter the ball in the mid post to him, like call it 15 feet, whenever you want. I think of Barkley. Barkley could he could hold somebody off and just go, give me the ball, and then catch it in the mid post, and then just go to work. He's not a great passer, but he's not a bad passer. I don't know why you're not just entering the ball to him and
running the whole offense through him. Yeah,
he should be able to spin and clear Race Thompson out of the other side and throw a lob to the guy and catch lobs. I don't see a ton of creativity when it comes to getting him the ball.
Yeah, I mean, to that point, like I was thinking this during the game, and I was watching the possession, and there was even a couple of possessions in a row when he did touch the ball, but like I got so excited when they finally got him the ball, as opposed to, you know, like, and again, it's going to sound like I'm picking on him again, but Rob Finney and Al Durham, I mean, they had the ball in their hands for the majority of the 30-second possession, and Trace gets it for like a quick 2-second burst, where these other guys are basically holding it throughout the whole possession, and I'm just like, I don't know what I would do. I'm not at practice every day. You're not at practice every day. We know it's different in that regard, but I can tell you this: in 2 years, a lot of good things has happened when Trace Jackson Davis touches the ball, and he would have it in his hands for the majority. He would almost be James Harden, not dribbling around, but.
I wouldn't ask him to make decisions with the ball. Like, I don't think you just give it to him and say, now be our offense. And not, like Jokic in the NBA, it's like you can give him the ball and he can run it.
Right.
It's not like that.
No.
But what I'm seeing, too, I think what you're saying, too, is when Finney has the ball and he's dribbling, anybody's scouting us, he's kind of backing off a little bit.
Sure.
And I'm playing like a defense, but I'm just going, this dude just going to keep dribbling. And he's not going anywhere. And that's just, the defense is winning the whole time. And we're not doing anything. And we're not really Texas, like, we don't have a guy that's, and the reason they're not beating anybody off the dribble is because there's nobody that get into him. And then it makes it really hard to beat somebody off the dribble if you're not being guarded. And that's what's going on.
Yep. I completely agree. I mean, it gets frustrating from the standpoint of, we don't have the right personnel on the floor that's going to force defenses to extend out far enough to allow Trace and Race to really work inside to the level they could. I mean, think about what Alan Henderson, tremendous player, awesome, great talent. But he wouldn't be that great on this team either, because they don't have to extend out. They don't have to come guard them, and it just makes it a little bit more difficult to watch that. I mean, I'm just being a picky fan. I don't like losing. I know you don't like losing. I get grumpy, and now I'm just Johnny Negative right now.
Well, guys, I appreciate it tonight. Coming up next, Illinois. Indiana has to travel on the road. What is that? The day after?
Yeah, Saturday.
Well, at least we got the Outback Bowl coming up in Tampa next week, so you got that to look forward to. Some fun.
Is that on New Year's Day? Is that a New Year's Day?
That is the 2nd January 2nd. Appreciate everybody joining us here tonight. I know it was a little loud. There's a lot of Christmas parties going on, and it's that time of the year. So sorry about that, but next time we'll be a little quieter. But, man, I can't thank Brian enough, as always, and Todd, the 2 stars of the show. Man, I hope you guys have a Merry Christmas. Santa Claus, I hope you and your family have a great Christmas.
Same to you guys.
We appreciate you so much, man. Todd, you, Jessica, appreciate you guys so much. Happy New Year to everybody. Happy holidays, everybody. Wish a happy Christmas to everybody that's out there put on here tomorrow. We'll be on the radio tomorrow, but for everybody else, thanks a lot to Chris Martin, Nathan Finney, and Finney Hospitality Group, everybody here at Yogi. We're always happy to be here. Appreciate everybody. See, there you go. There's the noise. I don't know where it went. There, that must have been what it is, man.
It was Todd. Hey, I'll come on after the losses, because this is therapeutic for me to come on and talk to you guys after we lose. If we win, you guys just bring other people on. But when we lose, I need a little therapy. I'll come on every time.
Well, unfortunately, I think we may see
Oh no. Oh shoot.
See you a little more. But, appreciate everybody. Merry Christmas. And until tomorrow, I'll see you on the radio.